Hey everybody, welcome to part 4 of our 7 resorts in 7 days series. Today we're going to be talking about Disney's Beach Club Resort. Coming up next, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 781 for March 19th, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Let the experts at Dreams Unlimited help you understand all your options when booking one of Disney's all-inclusive vacation packages. Just visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table by my good friends, Dustin West.
Hello.
Jenny Lynn Knopp.
Hello.
Kathy Whirling. Corey Martin. Back in the production nook, Craig Williams. And joining us via Skype, our good friend, Will Perry out in Indianapolis.
Hello.
So, very excited to actually talk about the Beach Club because this was one that I wasn't really looking forward to going into our 7 and 7. I've never been a huge fan of the Beach Club, not because there's anything wrong with it. It just never appealed to me. Just, wasn't one of those resorts that got me excited. But I will say this. That changed after this stay, and we're going to go into why.
I want to hear why.
We're going to go into why in just a little bit. First, a little detail about the resort. Opened November 19th, 1990, just 2 weeks after its sister resort, the Yacht Club, opened. It is designed by famed architect Robert A.M. Stern and inspired by coastal New England at the turn of the 20th century. A total of 576 guest rooms, about 400 square feet each, and located on Crescent Lake, right next to the Yacht Club, as well as across from the Boardwalk Resort and the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resorts. Before we go into too much on the Beach Club, we have a little video package we want to play, so we'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our experience at this resort. This was actually the first resort that we stayed at. We're not releasing these in the order that we did them. Yeah. We're releasing them in a different order. But Beach Club was the first resort that we stayed at, and we did have a concierge room at the Beach Club, as well as a villa at the DVC portion of the Beach Club. And I've been talking this week about some of the inconsistencies in the concierge experience, and this was the best. Greeted out front by name, escorted right upstairs, sat down to check us in, and did something I have never seen done at any of the other concierge lounges. We were offered a cocktail.
Oh.
It was called the Captain's Punch? I don't have it on here. I believe it was called the Captain's Punch. They had an alcoholic version and a non-alcoholic version. It was a champagne drink. So for the non-alcoholic version, they just used like a sparkling cider. And it was extremely sweet, like in terms of its sugar content. But it was also extremely sweet as a very nice way to welcome you.
Yeah, it's a nice way to welcome you.
The service was impeccable. The young lady that checked us in was amazing. And
just funny, too.
Funny and knowledgeable. And this Concierge Lounge has just been redone. They took, I believe it was 3 guest rooms out of inventory, gutted them, and expanded this Concierge Lounge. So it's huge now. It had been very, very small. Beautiful lounge. But so that certainly was a great way to say hello. But this is my first time taking a look at the new rooms. Beach Club just finished a major remodel of all the rooms. This is every 10 years they gut the rooms completely and do them from the ground up, basically rebuild the rooms. And these rooms were so new you could still kind of smell paint.
Okay.
That's how fresh these were. And this was another great example of the designers doing a first-class job with this remodel.
You know what I notice about all these new rooms in the Contemporary, the Polynesian, the Beach Club? It's almost like a minimalist version of the themes that the resorts are based on. So for the Polynesian, for example, there's not tiki and dark wood and all that everywhere. It's those little touches.
Understated elegance.
Yeah. And in the Beach Club, you add these little accents of this blue and the beechwood and stuff like that. Those little touches.
The mother of pearl inlay around the headboard of the bed just won me over.
And the plaques of the rooms as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. These rooms are absolutely beautiful, very, very comfortable. Now, you actually stayed. Mm-hmm. You stayed in the regular room. Will was over in the villa.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the villa in a second. But what was your impression of the room?
Oh, it's an understated elegance. Extremely impressive. Was not what I was expecting from the Beach Club because in previous years, and then also in comparison to the DVC side, the villas, it's a very different feeling. One of my favorite things about this room was the number of USB outlets.
That's one thing I wanted to mention too.
With this new design, this was the only one of the resorts that we stayed at that had this. Mm-hmm. There were USB plugs everywhere.
I think there was 8 in the one room.
Yeah.
Like at the bottom of lamps, in the outlets themselves by the desk.
And I'm telling you, as a mom with 3 kids who all come with their own phones and, iPads and everything else, everything needs a USB outlet to charge these little toys and electronics we bring. It's a relief because otherwise we're often struggling for, who gets the electrical.
To charge.
Yeah, who gets to charge.
Or you have to bring a power strip.
I'm looking to do this at my house, just every single single outlet.
No, it's certainly a challenge for me when I travel, and I travel quite a bit, and I've got a whole host of devices that need to be charged, and I know how many USBs I need, and I travel with enough to charge, but this was This was fantastic.
Appearance-wise, I really like the contrast of the colors. You had the really soft colors contrasting with like the dark wood of the furniture. But it was done really well. You didn't get the feeling that it was too light and bright, and you didn't get the feeling that it was too dark either. It was just comfortable.
I thought it was really smart in them doing very neutral colors on the wall, and the carpet kind of allowed everything else to pop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, carrying through that theme, I was blown away by how beautiful this room was. And again, with the deluxe resorts, 400 square feet, it's a nice size. And the beach club, location-wise, it's hard to beat because
No, you can't beat the location.
you can it's a very quick walk to the international gateway of Epcot, in the back end of Epcot.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous. It's there's so much good stuff to talk about with the beach club, but
It is. I'm sorry. I was going to say it's the closest hotel to any theme park in terms. It's closer than like the Contemporary is to Magic Kingdom. You can just walk right out the door.
Right.
It's really close.
I also wanted to confirm what you were saying about the concierge desk there for the club level rooms. Of all of the ones that I dealt with during the 7 and 7, by far, the people at this desk were the most welcoming. I mean, I sat with the one guy for 2.5 hours, literally. And if he didn't have the answer, well, he was going to call, the department that could give him the answer. And it was all done with this attitude of almost gratitude that I was giving him a chance to prove his worth to me as a concierge
and also being proud of his resort.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Now, in some of the other places, it took a while for the concierge people to kind of warm up to me as I was speaking with them, but that was not the case with the people that I dealt with here. It was from the get-go. Again, I just keep thinking of it was this attitude of gratitude towards me that they were giving me a chance to that I was giving them a chance to show themselves.
Well, I think that's a great way to put it, because that's how I felt just in general. They were very grateful that you were there. They were very happy that you were there, and they were anxious to show off. I think they're excited about their new lounge. They're excited about their new rooms. I will say this to Disney: the Contemporary and the Beach Club. Go there, talk to the people that are managing those concierge levels, and then have them go and train everybody else at the different resorts where you have a concierge, because that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. I was a concierge at Contemporary back in November, and again May of last year, and I was very impressed with the level of service. And I was talking to someone who, because I had mentioned, wow, you guys have really upped your game, because the last time I'd stayed at concierge at the Contemporary, I wasn't that impressed. And he looked at me and goes, yeah, there's a Four Seasons on property now.
Okay.
And Four Seasons is all concierge. It's not a certain level. It's all concierge. And, Four Seasons, that's the platinum standard. And that's what Disney has to compete with now. And I'm going to tell you something. Go take a look at the prices at the Four Seasons over at Golden Oak versus concierge rooms at the Contemporary, the Grand, the Poly, the Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. Generally speaking, it's cheaper. So they do have to up their game, because now, I remember they were a little nervous when the Waldorf opened up, because, again, the Waldorf is known for that level of service, although I don't know that this Waldorf has actually achieved that. But so I'm very, very intrigued by that. But Beach Club and Contemporary, really, in terms of service, for concierge, that's where you want to be. Now, we did have it was a one-bedroom that we had at the Beach Club. And Will, you stayed there.
No, it was a
No, it was
two-bedroom.
two-bedroom.
Was it a two-bedroom?
Yeah, it was 2-bedroom.
Where did we have the one-bedroom? No, I think we had.
No, it was a two-bedroom.
Boardwalk.
Boardwalk, we had a one-bedroom.
Okay.
Boardwalk was one bedroom. Never mind. Will, what was your impression of the villa at Beach Club?
This was the room that was not my favorite. I felt like it was honestly a little outdated.
Yeah.
it felt kind of like a cheap beach hotel. I understand that's the theme we're going for, but if I went to Daytona and stayed, I kind of feel like...
Okay, that's a little rougher than I would have been.
It didn't do anything for me. I wasn't impressed. I didn't get the feeling I got from the Lodge or the Grand or even the Poly. And, obviously that didn't do very good for me on the 7 and 7, but the theming was there more than the Beach Club. The location's great, but the room, not so much.
See, I agree with you that the room was dated. The villas at Beach Club are in need of a rehab.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with how beat up some of the furniture was. Very scratched up. But in terms of, there is a warmth and a charm to these DVC villas, and so I would not go as far as cheap motel room in Daytona to describe it. I think that's probably being, for me, a little unfair, but definitely in need of a rehab.
When you see what they do, like with a rehabbed room, and you put it side by side, like they're doing away with like this pattern overload. Like the carpet has a pattern, the couch has a pattern, everything has a pattern in these older rooms, and you can see with the new rooms they were kind of smoothing out.
It goes back to what Dustin was saying about the minimalism, which I think is an
this
improvement.
is just like whoa. Very spacious. I love the space. We actually, my family, we stayed in one of these rooms, and it was perfect. The space is wonderful, but it is in need of an upgrade.
It is, and these, generally speaking, I've always been a big fan of Disney Vacation Club, and I think if you vacation at Disney on a regular basis, it is absolutely worthwhile to be a part of it, just because of the availability of rooms like this. With that kind of size and having the full kitchen. But I also tell people, and I feel I should really mention this a few more times, in terms of if you want, you can rent these as regular hotel rooms. They're expensive. A 2-bedroom is going for about $800 a night. I think I paid for this room. But if you go through something like David's DVC Rental, who's an advertiser on the site, where you can rent the points for this, it's significantly less money. Also on disboards.com, we have the DVC Rent Trade Board, which is even less expensive, averaging about $12 per point to rent out. And you figure, I forgot what the point value for this was for a night, but it wasn't ridiculous. And you can save quite a bit of money. And I really suggest that at Wilderness Lodge. I really suggest doing that, renting out the points. If you're not interested in investing the money and being a Disney Vacation Club member and owning a timeshare at Disney, then using David's DVC Rentals or our Rent Trade Board. We'll have links to both of those things in the show notes page, disunplugged.com, and also in the blog that we're doing along with this. So I do think that these villas, it needs a rehab, but outside of that, they're beautiful. And, when it gets rehabbed, hopefully it'll be something along the lines of what they've done in the rooms on the hotel side, because that, I think, can you imagine?
I love how the hot tub opens up into the master bedroom.
Oh, that's the style for a lot of the villas.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, all of the villas, all the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom villas have a nice size hot tub,
like a garden tub with jets, and then it has like shutters or a window or something that opens up into the main bedroom, so you can watch TV from the tub.
And
unless you're in the Grand Floridian Villa, which the TV is in the bathroom mirror.
Yep.
It's like having a phone in the by the toilet to me.
Yeah, there are certain times you should not be on the phone.
Yeah.
At least not with me. All right, so let's talk about the dining options. A little more limited here than at some of the other deluxe resorts. You have Cape May Cafe, which is a buffet restaurant for breakfast and dinner. Do they do lunch?
I think they have like a shortened something, because I know when we went by, they were doing a lunch thing.
Well, we did have breakfast at Cape May Cafe, and I got to be honest, this was another thing that kind of won me on the Beach Club. It wasn't good. It was outstanding.
Yes, it
and
was.
we were there late in the morning. So we were closing down the buffet. Normally, that's like the kiss of death at a Disney buffet because you're getting stuff that was, not as fresh. But everything that we ate there was fresh and delicious and creatively done. It wasn't just a lot of the same stuff you find in other buffets.
I was going to say it was varied.
This is my style of buffet.
They
Yeah.
had chorizo, scrambled eggs,
No,
which if
this
I
world.
could eat 100 pounds of that, I would be happy.
It was incredible.
I did want to make a correction. They don't have lunch at Cape.
It's just breakfast and
just a
dinner.
They
dinner
had
buffet and
something
a breakfast
over
buffet.
in the corner, where they had the locale stuff. When I went by the one day, they were doing something there. So, I don't know.
I don't know. They don't have it.
Okay. You have it there. Did you say how much it was? I wish I had.
For the breakfast?
Yeah.
No, $2 signs.
It's
Dinner is $3 signs.
I remember it being reasonable. I want to say it was either 21 or 24 person.
Something like that.
Somewhere in there. And the character interaction was great. Characters, in comparison to Ohana, where there were characters, we sat there for an hour, characters that never made it to us. We got characters like twice that they came around and then came around again.
Who was
And they-
there? I forget.
And they
Donald
even asked us
Minnie.
if we had seen
Goofy
the
was
characters.
there.
Pluto.
Where the other one, they didn't even ask if we'd seen everybody.
Yeah. I can't give high enough marks to Cape May Cafe. Now, when you guys had dinner there, it was not quite the same experience for dinner.
I would say it was nothing even close. I mean, I don't have the highest regards for the beach club, but that's because I can't go there a lot with Kylie being deathly allergic to shellfish. Even at breakfast, you could still smell the seafood buffet in that same Cape May Cafe area because that's what it turns into at night. And as a person who likes cheap, bad seafood, Cape May Cafe buffet was perfect. I mean, I think Corey and I were going at each other trying to see who could eat more. Of course, he won, but at the end of the day, I can't walk through there on a normal day with my fiance because she would die. So
Just from
Literally,
the
yeah.
fumes alone,
Yeah.
it stinks up that entire
is.
half of that building.
And as somebody who does not eat seafood and does not care for the smell of seafood, wow, yeah, it's pretty pungent at night.
I also see, according to the Diz, they've changed the way they do the crab legs, where when we were there, you could just go up and get as many as you want.
Yeah.
Now they come to the table and they bring you a bucket.
What? I like
With
to
some-
pick the ones I want.
Yeah, well, no, they just bring you a bucket, and when you finish that bucket, you can ask for another
But
bucket.
it's still limitless buckets.
Yeah.
No, they were saying that it seems to get slower. They're trying to pace you, and because a lot of people were getting a lot of crab and then not eating it, so they're trying to cut down on.
But that's because they weren't serving high quality crab legs where you couldn't get nice big chunks of meat out of it. I mean, that's what Corey and I were doing. We were grabbing a full set of 5 crab legs, and if you get one actual leg that has meat in it, that was a success. The rest was just
Or
getting
wasn't
grease all over
overcooked
your
where it
hands.
just stuck. You couldn't even get anything out of it. It was like doing surgery, pretty much on
I
these.
didn't enjoy dinner there as much, but I was trying to eat from the special diet perspective of a vegetarian, and it was much more limited for dinner. Whereas at breakfast, I was very happy. I felt like there was plenty for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the breakfast. That particular night, John, Kevin, Dustin, and I went to Beaches and Cream for dinner, which is the other table service restaurant. And we're going to be doing a review of that later. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. It wasn't very good. It really wasn't. It was really disappointing.
Which is sad.
It
Yeah.
was. But those are the only 2 table service available at the Beach Club. Counter service, you also have Beaches and Cream. There's a pickup window. Hurricane Hannah's, which is out at the pool. I got to be honest, of all the quick service that we had on this trip, that was the worst. I thought it's apparently whatever's being done at other quick service locations around property. This was the land that time forgot, and not very good. And that's in need of a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
But then you have the Beach Club Marketplace, which is all DVC resorts have a grocery area in the store. This one also has, they make sandwiches and pastries and things in the morning. Flatbreads.
They had a great, because before we started this, you said find one thing at each resort that you liked, they have an awesome coconut bar. It's
Really?
on the snack credits. Oh,
Oh.
I've actually gone over there since.
Just for
and
that.
bought a couple of them.
Is that
to
like a
have them.
candy thing, or
It was one of the snack choices around the side of the counter there.
Oh.
That really, really good.
Yeah, I think this is one of the better DVC shops, grocery shops on property. In particular, because of that service counter that they have, where they're, like I said, they're making sandwiches and things like flatbreads, things like that.
Now, see, that's what Wilderness Lodge needs, is
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, they have Roaring Forks.
No.
She doesn't like Roaring Forks. I think Roaring Forks was good. But, of course, also next door at the Yacht Club, you have the Yachtsman, but we'll talk about that when we get to the Yacht Club. Will, what did you think food-wise at the Beach Club?
I enjoyed both meals at Cape May. I thought the breakfast was great. The grab your own, as much as you want style buffet. I like that. And I enjoyed dinner. I'm not a seafood guy, and I still enjoyed the seafood buffet. They had some good beef and chicken and some other options. So, yeah, the food was good.
Okay. Now, talking about, we were in our Grand Floridian segment, we were talking about how the parents at the table and the grandparents at the table wouldn't necessarily take their kids to the Grand Floridian just because of the atmosphere and things like that. I'm guessing that's probably a little different when we talk about the Beach Club.
Drastically. I mean, there's just children running around all over the place here, and it's very casual. It's very laid back. This is also a resort that has a children's activity center, the Sandcastle Club, which my children have stayed there, enjoyed their time there very much. It's not as heavily themed as some of the other ones, but they still have the basic activities and obviously superior supervision. So there's, and then the pool. I mean, you can't overlook that. It's its own small water park.
It is.
Which children, love it. You can build sand castles, and they've got the sand in the bottom of the pool.
Well, this is the largest sand bottom pool in the United States. And it's also a lazy river, and it's got some great little hot tubs nestled in to some areas.
Fantastic water slide.
Fantastic water slide when it's open. And again, this is one of my only complaints here is that this pool seems to be constantly under rehab. And parts of it were under rehab when we were there. And it seems like it's just constantly something's wrong with this pool.
When we stayed there for the FAM, I couldn't wait to go into that pool because I had heard so much about it. That's the pool that everybody tries to go to. I came away underwhelmed.
Really?
Well, then you're hard to please. 'Cause that's an amazing pool.
Okay, maybe because when we were there were a lot of children who were not being watched by their parents.
Well,
A lot
that
of
is true,
ill-behaved.
and that would be the difference that we were talking about. It's much more of a relaxed atmosphere where parents probably do feel more inclined to let their kids be kids.
It's like they forgot that they had kids.
Well, I'm not condoning it, but I'm just saying that the atmosphere of the resort lends itself to that a bit more.
Oh, it does. It's just, I don't know.
And just to let people know, this pool is shared by the Yacht Club, and it is specifically and strictly for guests of the Beach and Yacht Club. And you are going to have your Magic Band scanned going into the pool, and they're pretty particular about it. Yeah. Because there was, years ago, that was one of the big things on the boards was pool hopping. People that were staying at the All-Stars that wanted to come over and be at the and at one point Disney allowed it. But then what was happening is people that were staying at the Yacht and Beach Club couldn't get a lounge chair because it was being taken up by everybody else. So they had to really,
Not only that, but
clamp down.
they quit allowing the pool hopping between DVC members.
Yeah.
One of the perks of a DVC member is you're able to go to any of the DVC pools, but it was not the case with Stormalong Bay.
Right.
You had to be staying there if you wanted to
Exactly.
go there.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it is hands down the most popular pool on property, and with good reason. I think personally the second best is over at the Swan Dolphin. That pool is incredible. Beautiful pool area over at the Swan Dolphin. This does have one of the larger arcades on property for kids. It's an actually pretty cool arcade.
Yeah.
My favorite arcade on property is still the Contemporary.
Yeah, of course.
But this one also has a pretty decent arcade. Your kids can get lost in there for a while, and that's attached to Beaches and Cream. You can walk actually in and out of Beaches and Cream from the arcade.
Talking about walking, this resort is extremely spread out, I feel like. Maybe it's just me, but I always feel like I have to take some sort of journey to get anywhere, whether it be to eat or to go to the pool or to go to the lobby, wherever it is.
It is
I
a bit
just feel
spread
like
out.
It is a lot of walking.
But one of the reasons I like this area, this Crescent Lake area, is because you can walk around Crescent Lake.
True.
After a meal at the Flying Fish or the Yachtsman, taking that walk around the lake. Also, I'm into night photography, and this is a great area to do night shots. I got some amazing pictures, some of the best I've ever taken. That's not saying a lot because I'm not a phenomenal photographer, but I'm getting better. But I will warn you, if you're going around Disney resorts with a tripod and a nice camera, be expected to be thought a terrorist. We had a couple of run-ins there, and I understand they have to be careful with security, but it's not illegal to own a nice camera.
Yeah.
But if you own a nice camera at Disney, you're going to be questioned. So be prepared for that.
Yeah. Bring your iPad.
Overall grade on the Beach Club. This is a surprise to me that I'm going to give it this grade. I'm going to give it a 9. The service was fantastic. The concierge level was amazing. I probably should knock something off a little more for the condition of the villa, but I was so impressed with the redesign of these rooms that's a lot of it. The service and the room is what's driving that grade for me. I actually want to go back and stay there, and I've never said that about the Beach Club. And when the time comes that they renovate those villa rooms, I think that's going to be a game changer for me. There, I would absolutely stay in those villa rooms, and I highly recommend them. I would wait till they get rehabbed, unless you go in knowing that, or you find a really good deal, you find a really good price on them. But I'm going to say Beach Club turned me around. They did a great job. They did a great job with that rehab. Corey, what did you think?
I'll agree on the 9. I'm not much of a fan on their dining options there, but you have plenty of options around you in walking distance, and the proximity to Epcot alone, I give it high marks. I mean, even more than the boardwalk. I mean, I love the proximity, the pool, the arcade. For families, it's wonderful. So 9.
Kathy?
I'm still not convinced. I've stayed there twice. My favorite memory is laying in bed, and we had a room that last building before you start down the sidewalk, and we could hear illuminations playing, and to be laying in my bed and hearing the music and looking out, and I could see the fireworks, that was priceless. Would I stay there on my own dime? Probably not.
Okay. Well,
I'm probably going to give it like a 6 or 7. It's not a place I would probably pick to stay on my own dime. Now, once they rehab the rooms, I think it might be a lot better for me. But location is why I scored it so high. That's just an unbeatable spot. So, yeah.
all right, Craig.
I'm probably at a 6.5 or 7 for the location, being so close to Epcot, for Beaches and Cream, even though you guys had a bad experience. I mean, I could eat the No Way Jose, the peanut butter, banana ice cream there any day of the week. And then the pool there's some things that set it up, and then the room conditions, those kind of take it back down. But
They have bread pudding flavored ice cream as well, Corey.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, understand that, I think a good percentage, the vast majority of the people listening and watching are not DVC members. And I'm kind of going on that. Now, if I'm going to factor in the villa, yeah, I'm going to knock a point and a half off of it. But, I'm sorry. I think they knocked it out of the park with that room design. So
Well, that's nice to hear, though.
you're wrong. Is what I'm saying.
I also didn't see the standard room. I only saw the DVC.
see.
You didn't come up. You didn't.
No, I didn't. I was
Okay.
running around
It was
like
night
a
and day.
chicken.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to see the other room either. So.
Well, we don't let the unwashed up onto the concierge floor. So, Jenny Lynn, how about you?
I'm going with an 8. I can't rate it higher than the Wilderness Lodge, which I gave an 8, because the Wilderness Lodge just has so much more appeal than this resort for me. This one, like I said, I'm not a fan of how spread out it is. I'm not inclined to enjoy the cuisine of this place either. However, whoever it was that said location, you can't beat it. You're walking distance from Epcot, a boat ride away from Hollywood Studios. You're right there by the boardwalk, which is an entertainment venue all on its own in the evenings.
Yeah.
So that's big points with me. So again, I'm not this resort in terms of theming and atmosphere. It doesn't rate really high for me, but the placement of it is what gets it.
Okay, Dustin.
Yeah, for me, it's somewhere between a 7 and an 8. And the good marks that I give it are definitely the upgraded standard rooms. And the staff is great. And the location is great. My problem with both the beach and the yacht club is that I feel like they could not stand on their own without each other. I feel like that if I was staying at the beach club for a week, I would be spending a lot more time in Cruise Cup Lounge at Yacht Club or eating at the Yachtsman Steakhouse, and vice versa from the Yacht Club, and we'll talk about it more. There's other things that I'd rather do at the Beach Club that they offer that the Yacht Club doesn't have. And in terms of any kind of nightlife or anything like that, you do have to head over to the boardwalk.
Oh,
and that's
completely, yeah.
And that's great that it's in that location, but I feel like if you separated this out from where it is, I don't know that I could say it would stand on its own.
It's a very
You
interesting
mean you don't
point.
want to go to Martha's graveyard
Well,
and party it up?
piggybacking on what he's saying, though, but that makes, if you're looking at it that way, that makes the resort even more spread out. If you're going to be trying to grab from the amenities over at Yacht Club.
Right.
I still like it, and I love the new rooms, but that's my take on it.
Okay. Well, we'll let you have the last word. All right. That is going to do it for this episode. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. We'll be focusing on the sister resort to the Beach Club, the Yacht Club. So tune in for that. Thanks for being with us, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it. And have a great day. I can't say week. And stay out of the damn lights. I got to work on my closings.